Okay, I guess we already covered. How do we awaken the pure experience? And say it from your own, okay? What you really feel. How do we awaken the pure experience? Now, you know what a pure experience is, eh? Who we really are. Who we truly are. Now, in the beginning we'll say, well, how do I know how to experience that if I've never experienced it? But the truth is, we already know it deep inside. We know that there's a part in us that is deep, that is abiding, that is solid, if we learn to listen to it. So how do we awaken that pure experience?
Grace.
That's a concept. But it's true.
Well, I can tell you in my experience that I relate so strongly when I hear truth spoken, but then I often find myself forgetting it very quickly after I hear it. And I heard Adyashanti say one time that you can ask yourself, what's the truth in this? And I've tried that from time to time, and it seems to have measured effect. Sometimes more and sometimes less.
Why do we forget?
But what always has a strong effect is to hear truth, unvarnished truth,
right,
spoken.
Right. And your heart resonates with that immediately. Right.
Yeah.
That is pure experience. Okay? That which resonates is the pure experience. And now the reason we don't live from it during the day, during most days, why is that? Why don't we experience it all the time?
It could be the unwillingness to let everything go. You want to hang on.
That's right. You still believe that there is a personal experiencer. The personal experience is nothing but pain. When people write me letters, I'm going through a depression, I'm going through this, I'm going through anger, I had a nervous breakdown, this is happening, this happened. It's the personal experiencer that's experiencing this. If there was no personal experience, there would be none of that. You see? There would only be pure experience. Do you understand what I mean by pure experience? Pure, yeah.
I wanted to ask you a question from my own experience. It seems that the times that I've had pure experience was in times that were very, very terrifying. And that moment of, I guess, just being in the now seemed to be associated with great fear and great pain and great terror of, you know, being put in life-threatening situations. And it seems that throughout my life, those have been really only the times that I have suddenly kind of broke through to that. And when I look back on that, you know, that I mean, I'm so conflicted about that because I don't want to have to experience those kind of things anymore in order to break through and be in the now. I mean, they come with what it feels like with such trauma.
In deep suffering, because suffering like love, they're both opposites, but they have one similarity: 100% you. Okay? When you love, okay, when you feel great love, it isn't your foot that is loving, or your mouth, or your eyes, or your whatever. It is the whole of you feels it. The whole of you, every cell of your body feels it. When you have fear, you cannot say, well, there's only a part of me feeling fear, another part is not. When you feel, you are all fear. Okay? Now, what happens is that when you are in a state of total fear, absolute total fear, okay, at that moment, if you know that there's nothing to do, if at that moment you're totally paralyzed, you feel like there's nowhere to go, there's almost an unconscious acceptance of it, and you experience pure state. For example, people have said to me, I know I've heard it from two people, they were drowning. And as they were drowning and swallowing water, all of a sudden they looked up and they saw almost like a light. And they weren't afraid to die. They faced a moment of great fear of drowning, and then it changed into almost a joyful light experience. So when fear is total and you know that there's nothing you can do about it, the moment you see that there's no escape, you experience pure state. And this is why many people who are terminally ill, they go through 5 stages. We know those stages, right? And the final one is total acceptance. The moment they totally accept, they have more wisdom, more knowledge, more courage, and more light in them than when they felt, oh, maybe I won't die, maybe this won't happen. But the moment they felt there was no way back, there's no escape, pure state was experienced. So if you have experienced that pure state, then you might have felt that there was no escape from the situation. As long as we think we can escape it, as long as we think we can control it, as long as we think we are doing and we can do something, then we're caught. See? Then we're caught in great, great suffering.
I guess that statement, no hope, is pretty powerful. 2 words.
Yeah. When you realize that in truth, as an ego, the only way that the ego will die is to realize hopelessness and helplessness, and to acknowledge that. And this is the paradox. Well, the moment you acknowledge helplessness and hopelessness, then what happens is that the control that you thought you gave up fills you with immense control. But it's not you who's controlling. You become more balanced and in control when you give up the need to be in control. You see, that's the duality. That's what we're learning all the time. And this is the, this is the paradox. When, as long as we want to be in control, that's when you're not in control. When you think you know something, that's for sure you don't know. You see, when you think this way, then you're not. But the moment there is humility and that personal experience there is willing to let it go, to let it die, then there's another something that takes over. You see? And it fills you up. It fills you. I mean, you can ask Jim now. We did it very, very briefly. Usually in Super Sentience, I take an hour at least to go through this process. I did it very fast because of time, because of what we are like. But he experienced even a reversal in that short period of time. Now imagine the beauty of that, Jim. You see? Like, you went through fear of rejection, loneliness, and you were so open and frank. You're lovely, really. And you went through all these, you see, and when I ask you to leave the story behind and just be with it and experience it, and I know that there was, you were feeling it then, you allowed it. And then it reached a point of where it reversed. Isn't that something?
I was surprised.
Yeah, isn't that beautiful? Yeah, and all the clients that I have, they get surprised. So some of them, they've never done spiritual practice before, nothing, and they come, and they're filled with this fear, but they trust me. See, that's important. You have to trust the process, you know. And when you have this going for you, and all of a sudden you say, my goodness, I'm experiencing so much darkness, and I stay with them, and then they experience light. And it's just like new people. They just leave like they've become awake. You see? You know. And at that moment they are awake, yes. You know. And it's so beautiful and it's so simple. But do not ever run away. You see? Run away from any fear, any discomfort or anything.